Extremely smart individual. Fucks around with Steam input for 12 hours to try and create fucking Axis-specific dead zones. I've always wanted to lower my dead zone for this game, but it always caused problems with registering forward versus backwards item throws. Because, like, you'll be angling your stick very slightly during a drift, and it'll pick it up as a lob when you meant to set, or vice versa. So I finally got off my ass and fucking added this thing to Steam so I could screw around with Steam input for a bit. And I have been having decent success with a low in-game dead zone, a 0 dead zone in the configurator, and wow, that almost hit. And just a globally lowered y-axis sensitivity in the configurator. Since you never, like, I don't use that for throttle or anything. It's really just a digital input that happens to fucking be on an analog input device. Wow, I actually nailed him right between the jaws. That is maybe the best shot I've ever fucking hit. Oh, hello there. Thanks! Thanks, I really appreciate that. I don't know how you did it, but I think you managed to lag my fucking game. 2 very loud months from Rye, who says, Eve is... Oh, for fuck's sake. I hate it here. Oh, hello. Yeah, somebody's thinking out. See you the fuck later. I hate it here. Thank you to you both. I don't even know where my grow timer is because I can't hear the music. Nightmares. I'm going to drown now. Yep. I'm dead. Excellent. I started a fight in the general channel and then left to stream. I feel really productive. Who is breaking ping limit on, like, max ping max on antifreeze? What the fuck? Where are these people even coming from? That was $50 worth of loud hitting me within. Video games. Okay. That's what we're doing here today, I guess. I understand. You guys have made me aware of the law. Rex says, it never ends, by the way. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's completely understandable. Let me pass or I will destroy your life. Or someone will destroy their own lives. Hey, but they let me pass anyway because they didn't notice me getting hit. They probably assumed that I was going to try to get rid of that for another item since we were coming up on the set. Dude, this fucking sequence of turns. I wonder. I mean, sure, put up a barrier there. Invisible wall? I feel it. I understand. Rogue says, now give me the bright pink Discord name. I actually have no idea if the Discord role integration has ever been upgraded to actually know what tier sub you are. I do definitely need to borrow West to do some image frames for the T2 and T3 subs, though. Those shitty little golden stars up there, that's not gonna fly. I will have fucking none of that shit. We can all do better. We can all do better. I love this jug. It's the best. Meanwhile, Envy's stuck with a founder first for the rest of their life. I like how the super distinguished badge is actually griefing you. That makes me happy in a way that I can't explain, to hear that the gamification process has actually completely failed on you. No, I don't want a unique badge. You can't make me. Well, that's good. Wow, all the way back here? Straight? Ow. It's still targeting me. Damn, that's crazy. Alright, so this always causes some kind of problem. Okay. Seems legit. And yeah, apparently there's something different about the Founder badge specifically, where it's not like an equipable badge, but it just eats your slot, which is fucking hilarious to me. I actually wonder if I can turn that shit off. Probably not. It's only a matter of time before they force me to re-enable the fucking scam train, too. Fucking comical nonsense. It actually blows my mind that anyone thought the scam train was a good idea. Like, it's so transparent. Literally, cam girls have better reward structures by like a mile. Chris asks, scam train? Hype train. It's basically Twitch's own implementation of like sub-streaks and shit, where if enough people give me money in a brief period of time, then it sets off some shit where basically everybody's fucking fighting a raid boss where you deal damage by wasting your money. And at the end of the window, everybody who participated gets fucking random shitty emotes based on how much money was wasted in total during the scam train. Ow. Oh no. I'm the best. Oh shit. Okay, I'm worst. Chenji says, hey Taran, how's your Monday going? You're getting stream sniped in cart dev. Oh no. Absolute terror. Oh, okay. I like this. Press Eudoro to win. And it says, too bad Mixer died, XD. Well, Mixer's fucking gamification was more obnoxious than Twitch somehow, but at least you could switch it off if you spent fucking half an hour in your channel page flipping every single individual switch. Vanilla server? Yeah. Well, it's my vanilla server, and it's not exactly vanilla. I cheated and labeled it vanilla when it's really just mostly vanilla maps and characters. But it's totally got the gameplay tweaks that I've become accustomed to from Kart MP and shit. I actually don't know if I'm ever gonna play the game again without Bump Spark. Fucking Kiel, the guy who runs Kart TM, was talking in one of the tech support channels recently about host mod stuff, so I'm wondering if they're thinking of taking my approach as well and adding a little bit of quality of life to KTM. Because I definitely can't play anywhere without Auto Excel now. It's, once I built that for myself, I realized it was fucking over. Auto Excel is so fucking cozy. Yep. Extended Eudoro is nice because it kind of feels worth it, even if you don't actually steal an item, or even if you steal something that's useless to you. The super long period of the ability to ignore off-road kind of offsets the fact that you don't actually get any speed from it. Although there's still some weird shit going on. where I feel like in extended hue you run out of off-road protection or something. I've run into situations where I don't quite understand what's happening there. Yes, Flex literally does nothing except flex in chat. I needed something to fill out the other funny meme number, please understand. Since they nerfed channel point rates, I actually want to turn the fucking shit off. I don't know why this particular change feels like a straw that broke the camel's back to me, but the fact that T1 subscribers only get like a 20% boost to points now, and you have to sub at T3 to get the full double fucking badge thing. I don't know how I feel about all that. It's like, no, people are receiving too much reward. What? Who the fuck are you to decide who's receiving too much reward? That says, what about our shaders? I also don't have anything hooked up to programmatically redeem channel point rewards at all. I'm literally doing it all manually, except for like the emote stuff. Because I haven't found a suitable solution for that yet. Bonk. Valren keeps trying to get in. Oh no! How could you? And we'll die together. Emote editing is pretty funny. Rug says, make sure to adjust your numbers to increase engagement. Yup. What the fuck? Hello? Yeah, it's Valorant again. They're just fucking syncing up the server somehow. Every once in a while you get someone with really special connection properties where they will literally join the server and sync out every single time. And as far as I can tell, this actually has nothing to do with what Lua is loaded. I've never been able to experience sync issues with anything in like host mod or Kart MP, which are the only two scripts running on this. So I guess some people just have bad computers? Like, hilariously bad computers? I mean, I guess I can just respawn back here. Legit. Dynamic Donut, it says, only not realize now AutoXL might be enough to not make my hands die on acrobatic servers. Yeah, there's a benefit. Yeah, because you're constantly using the break button to charge tricks and that kind of stuff, right? I don't get the appeal of acrobatics. I got over myself for the first time the other day, and I decided to play a couple races on Casual Army for the first time. And I am not about that combination of gameplay mods. To me, it kind of felt like normal speed, but whenever you dare to overlap two boost types, you immediately accelerate in a straight line for 10 miles. And with the relatively interesting and emergent mechanic of drift storage replaced by gigantic VFX bar and more boost types that send you to the stratosphere. I totally get what's compelling about it, but it ain't for me, which sucks because a lot of people seem to be enjoying it, and I wish I could be one of those people, not least of which because Casual Army is always fucking open and, like, nearly full. Rambo asks, I wonder if Dude64 still has his mystery sync fails on colony question mark servers. We figured out that that was because certain people... So here's the conditions you needed. You needed a slow PC or slow storage, and you needed to not have a config file for a mod that was trying to execute a config file. So that includes horn mod, host mod, friend mod, a couple other things like hit feed, etc. When a lot of these were trying to do their shit at once. Basically, when the exec command is like, hey, exec hostmod.config, the game does a recursive directory search in your whole ass fucking cart folder for files matching that file name. It doesn't look in just the root directory. It's a recursive search. And so if your PC is slow or your storage is slow, that search could take a long time, and because it was done on the main thread, it prevented you from sending keep alive to the server. So if the search took longer than the server had net timeout set, you would connection timeout as soon as it attempted to load the config. So the solution to that was to either make an empty config file in the root of the folder so that it would be found as soon as the search started. And for hosts, you can also increase net timeout to a pretty hilarious value, which is way easier now that antifreeze makes it so that doesn't negatively affect anyone. And so even people who weren't like configured to have empty config files in the places where they needed them, their game could freeze for 5 seconds or whatever, and as long as your net timeout is higher, it's totally fine. Oh dear. Last, what deadzone are you using? I think I'm using 0.2 or 0.25. Tall stick on the Elite controller with a sensitivity modifier applied in the Steam input configurator. So I'm running this shit through Steam and passing the controller through. It doesn't seem to add any lag as far as I can tell, and so far squashing the y-axis to like 25% has helped me with accidental forward or backward throws. What is this shit about fucking Smash invitations? Cosmetic, like, envelope with the wax seal, right? Not like, we'll put you in Smash Bros. What I initially tried for this, for what it's worth, was, wow. Look at how active that is. Look at how there's absolutely no visual where I'm passing through and I still get hit. This is the one fucking thing that I've complained about since the very beginning that nobody else seems to take me seriously on. That visual's crazy. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? I have no idea. Working memory of a goldfish. Are you complaining about explosion visual versus hitbox? If so, I fucking agree. Yeah, I don't know whether I think the hitbox needs to be changed or the visual needs to be changed, but it's crazy how bad the disjoint is between them. Explosions look non-lethal, like, right as soon as the smoke disperses, because that's the only way by which they indicate their threat radius. So, for me to pass through an area where there's, like, no smoke, well after I've seen the explosion go off, and get spun out by nothing, feels weird every time. I don't feel like I have a consistent reference for when I'm actually good to go and gun it through where an explosion was previously. Fucking meaty. He says, at this point, the only realistic solution for this in B1 would be a visual change. Would it be possible for Lua? Just add more fucking smoke. It could plausibly be possible, I think. You could add additional visual effects. Of course, the mine visual and the way it does collision checks are, they're pretty rough on performance on lower spec machines. So adding more shit to that without, like, re-implementing what's already there to run a little cleaner is maybe a bit dodgy. I know Ashnell has experimented with basically a clean room Lua re-implementation of explosions that's way more performant, but it still randomly gives people stair armor because the collision checks run at the wrong time, and there's not much that can be done about that from Lua. So... He says, I'm thinking something like the lingering effect from Radiant Silvergun boss explosions. Yeah, I could see that. Vibrating, fading sphere of fire so it wouldn't add more than, like, one particle. Yeah. I'd be worried about it creating too much visual noise if it was used in conjunction with the existing visual, but I think that could probably be tuned, and gameplay conveyance is pretty important in that regard. Seriously, gallon water jug might be the way, the truth, and the light. Just saying. There is no existing visual. Hey bro, there's the smoke. Don't you dare fucking throw that. I'm giving you so much space. Look at how respectful I'm being. It was all a trick. the whole time. I never respected you. Rug says BRB re-enabling hydrate bot. Bro, I invented water. Think you need to tell me to hydrate? Oh god. I made a mistake. Why were you still holding? I guess you were at the back of your section for a while. I wonder if I can hit somebody with this. By the way, no headphones again today. How's the echo? I ask because I apparently hear things that y'all just don't. What server? This is Nonstop Vanilla, a server that I put up a few days ago. That is actually not quite vanilla. It has Lat Pack loaded, but all of the Lat Pack maps besides Midnight Channel SOC'd out because people are afraid of change. What echo? Sick. Excellent. Applebot's on some fucking shit today. Oh god, what am I doing? Brain don't work good. This lower dead zone does feel pretty nice, though. I shouldn't have even signaled. I should have pretended I was holding something. I mean, I got body slammed by invincibility, so I don't know how much that matters, but... Hey, podium, it's okay. We did it. Yeah, let me get in broadcast before... It's a new record. I actually got in broadcast before somebody bothered me to get in broadcast. Big winner. That's what were your dead zone settings earlier? Earlier in the experiment, I tried dead zone 0 in-game and doing it all through the Steam configurator. But that didn't really seem to work for me. The way the cross dead zone worked wasn't like... I think it was using the absolute joystick coordinates instead of the rescaled joystick coordinates. And before I even started experimenting, I'd tried like anywhere from 0.15 to 0.3 dead zone before, but would always ditch it because of how bad my item control got with it. Like, I'd just get mistaken throws constantly. So, in the end, I just stuck with the default 0.5. Which is like, okay, but... I mean, I'm using a fucking joystick that's like 12 miles tall. I feel like I want to have a little bit more precision in how I operate. That was graceful. Did you change your controller, or what's this about? Changing joystick dead zone settings using some involved hackery, combining the in-game dead zone settings and some stuff from the Steam input configurator. Steam input is crazy, by the way. Steam input is like... The one reason I don't get mad about Steam is because I think Steam input is maybe one of the greatest value adds in the history of PC gaming. It is disgusting strong. Stuff like, hey, what if universal hot plug? Something that fighting games on PC desperately need if PC is to ever become useful as like a tournament platform or even like casual hot seat play. The other shark says, I made polyobject moving lasers today. Oh dear. Definitely gonna need an additive clock tower zone where instead of clock hands, it's just gigantic death beams. Wow. Today I will inspire fear. I was a little bit too far out for the true vertical jaws experience, but still got him, coach. Drop it. What the fuck was that? Oh dear. Oh. You know what? At that point, they'll take it. The one thing I hate about Steam and controllers is pressing the Xbox button and having Steam show up. Yeah, I have no idea why that happens. I think 95% of the source of Big Picture complaining is because of the places where it's like assumed you want Big Picture when people probably don't. If Big Picture just stayed out of the fucking way, and only activated if you hit the big picture button and then launched a game from big picture, I think everybody would love it. I actually think it's a fantastic 10-foot interface. And stuff like the Xbox button pulling up Steam was implemented in the same update as, like, big picture fucking controller support happened, basically. So I kind of consider it the same set of weird non-features. I don't know anyone who uses that shit unironically. I don't know anyone who thinks that that's an important part of their workflow, being able to hit the fucking Xbox button to, like, open Steam. I don't understand it. Maybe somebody who uses a Steam controller as their daily driver. By the way, the Steam controller would absolutely be my daily driver if I could swap the left analog stick for a D-pad, like a modular D-pad. Like, I'm down to use the trackpad for almost everything that requires an analog stick. I am not down to use the trackpad for anything that assumes, like, digital left-hand input. If you want me to use the trackpad as a replacement for the D-pad, you deserve to die. And I have the same feelings, but slightly less intense, about using an analog stick for digital input. Ebas, what's the server address? Ironically, because I haven't set up a DNS record for it yet, tsr.hu.cc, because I spun it up on the same old IP. I'm the best. Everyone's slowly figuring out how to peel the fucking :D ? Tag off their name since it's been implemented in host mod. Guzaro asks, why is your face rank Shadow? Because my character is Shadow. I'm just using a modified MDL.dat to use Eve's model over Shadow's slot, and then I have a personal sound replacement loaded that replaces Shadow's sounds with Eve's. This is my solution to, like, I want my main playable on vanilla servers. Just give them a bonus character's clone stat, and then, like, somehow accidentally meme Jack into making a model. That's spin out? What? I was today years old when I learned that. Of course, I also succeeded in getting my character memed onto almost every server by just making sure that Shenji was the one who did it. I think the only server I know that doesn't host Shenji Pack is PPPP, and they also don't host bonus cars, which is why I don't ever play there, even though I kind of think what they're doing is amazing. It's like, oh, you have neither of the characters that I want to play as. And instead, you have loud shitheads. I feel it. I don't know why I blew that sneaker when I was gonna get something worse than a sneaker. What? I thought I was spun out. It was just a fucking hard body slam. That's a lot of mines. Of course. Oh no, I'm drowning. Didn't lose! Okay, and somebody joined and synced out immediately. Why? Every time that happens, I get anxious that it's a sync issue in host mod, even though nobody has ever been able to replicate it. I don't know what the fuck to think. Maybe I seem dismissive sometimes when I complain at people for being like, Combi causes desyncs. Fucking insert mod causes desyncs when they don't know what they're talking about. But it's only because I do way too much thinking about that shit on my own. Because an old version of Horn Mod, back before it was officially released, had my first experience with Lua desyncs, where if someone disabled the horn, players who died to, like, the old spam protection wouldn't actually die on their screen, and so they'd immediately sync out the moment it happened. And it took me, like, way too long to diagnose that. So nobody but me is ever taking that fucking item ever again. I thought I was close enough for the snipe. I decided to hang out on the off-road for a bit, better than risking a head-on collision with the deployed Orby. Of course, now I'm fucking sad and dead. Wait, or I shook it in the pit somehow? I guess that's what happens when you go wide. The jaws just dropped in. I mean, of course. How could anything else happen? There. Podium still? Nah, the top half. Top half is close enough. I wonder if I'm gonna get fucking copyright muted from the music that plays on the server. I feel like I have some pretty good selections. I got pinged in a couple different places. What's going on? Aplong.com asks, okay, what kind of hardcore Mario Kart mod is this? Because this is not the OG Sonic Patrol car. You're correct, but since it's a fan game, it can't be listed on the Giant Bomb Games database, and so it doesn't have an official entry in Twitch. This is Sonic Roboblast 2 Kart, and somebody just linked you a landing page that I put together to explain what exactly the fuck it is and where you get it. Probably my favorite game of, like, 2019 in general. It's just a really well put together fucking experience. Favorite handling model and overall item design by far. Oh god, what was that? Necroc Shadow says, Mega Man Unlimited has a page on the Giant Bomb database for some reason. I mean, every time I play something on the fucking Kusoge Advent Calendar, and YouTube decides to categorize it as Mugen, I wonder what the fuck is going on. Yeah, so that shot was intended to be backwards, but definitely wasn't. So maybe I should take up the vertical sensitivity a little bit. Ow. Trying to dial this in. Basically, I'm trying to make sure that all possible, like, accidental, what the fuck? Accidental vertical inputs. You ever just sentence mix in the middle of your own fucking head? Accidental vertical inputs will all fall inside the 0.2 dead zone, but any intentional vertical inputs fall outside it. So let's see, tab out, controller configuration. Geek says, sauce. I believe it. So we can take this up a little bit. Hey, fucking gang's filling in. Davide Ebroski. Nice. I'm fucking about that, honestly. Literally the entire point of the fucking host mod scoreboard was me like memeing about wanting to do clan tags a couple months ago. And I'm pretty pleased with the results. No boost. Unlucky. Goodbye. I definitely thought that was orbiting in front of me. Oh, that's it. This is such a tough spot. It's basically a super narrow corridor. So well-timed Orbeez super lethal there. Alright. There are 11 players in this game. I think most people are far back enough compared to the front runner that they'll get power items instead of Fudoro. So I kind of want to try and hold this. Rado says the music on this track is based. Based on what? You prepared for everyone to answer you with that question? Probably should have held the rocket sneakers as well, but I'm still far back enough that I think I'm good. Runa is somehow front-running. Think the removal of the meme cut of Legends. Oh man, I thought I had way more room to swing out there. I'm gonna do it. Take the lower path because it lets me actually maintain some more speed. Okay, you know what? Fourth is fine. Considering how badly I fucked up on that ramp, it should have been way worse. Fucking someday, window skip will have a purpose. Rambo says, that cut is gross and terrifying. It's not even the dumbest cut on this course, even now, but the one that I'm thinking of is in arguably major skip territory, so obviously not going to discuss it because some people aren't fucking responsible. I don't think Giant Bomb Database is a fangame limitation. Back in Final Boss days, we just made it. Huh. Because that's always what I'd heard regarding Kart not having a category, is that Twitch sources its database from the Giant Bomb database, and it was Giant Bomb that had rules against it. But that's kind of hearsay. I never actually bothered to fact check that for myself now that I think about it. It's just lined up with what I've seen in the past. An item box just for me. Rat bastard fish. Literally the moment I deploy, I just drop them all. It's gonna be a wonderful surprise for somebody who's taking that section at speed. Don't you dare. You better stop. Didn't get my red. Why did I stick around for so long? Oh wow, I actually got a shoe this far out. Well, even if you don't use it on the cut up top, it's still easy to use it right here. That's not hitting anyone. Just kidding. It hit everyone. Alright, now time to assassinate someone's hopes and dreams. Well, I did what I could. That's basically all I got. Now if it had been double draws from that distance, that would have been fucking fantastic. Ida says, looking at nothing else but the kill feed is so fucking funny. 6 people dying to one mine. Yeah. And it is. Colored names. Highlight color, backdrop, message limit, care limit, display mode. And I think the fucking position stuff was removed to be accessible to scripts instead? I don't know. I like the new fucking presentation style of hit feed. Colored names basically sells it for me. Bap. Fuck out of here. I really dig this format where there's literally just no map voting and you just play. I think the only refinement to this that I'd ever make was like, because right now exit level is votable, so if everybody agrees that a course is fucking garbage, you can bail out of it. But the way I'd prefer to do it is like, literally just press a button combo at the starting line for an instant veto vote. And if it goes through, the map is instantly re-randomed with like no results screen or anything. And you can't veto that one. So kind of the way that fucking old school Halo did it. So on another channel, I've got one of the staff channels open for the SRB2 Discord, because I help maintain the ban bot for both Kart and Vanilla. And I spent this morning, quote-unquote, figuring out a small refinement to the appeal process. And so watching an appeal come in fills me with happiness that it probably should not fill me with. I've been reluctant to admit to myself for a very long time that, given a very slightly different path in life, I could absolutely have been the spreadsheet guy. When I'm playing PSO2, sometimes I become the spreadsheet guy, and it is fucking horrifying to me. Dang, is curb boosting a strat in this game? Sadly, no. On last Jartcast, I asked someone to implement fucking rail grinding into a map based off the fucking Sonic Adventure map. Oh god, get me the fuck out of here. I'm boosting. I'll see you the fuck later. Dynamic Donut says, give in to the count-if formulas. Bro, I did fucking date math in spreadsheets the other day, and it made me want to kill myself. Because people are like, I live in a fake time zone like Australia, and I don't know when our events are for our PSO2 alliance. I want a fucking polite countdown that displays exactly how many days, hours, and minutes remaining, that also links to a time zone converter, so I can set a calendar event for myself. And I'm like, you know how fucking awful that is? Like, Google Sheets doesn't even have the native concept of a duration. When you subtract two dates, you don't get, like, a time. You get, like, a date relative to the fucking Unix epoch. It is a nightmare. You heard me, Az. I know you're real. That was not in question. Wow. Don't hit the button, don't hit the button! Ah! I was worried about the button. I shouldn't have been. Wow. Anyway, date math is a nightmare. I eventually was managed to, like, over 7 different cells for readability. Coax the fucking thing into automatically generating, like, a dynamic link to a time zone converter website with the correct time filled in, while also displaying the difference between now and the posted date as a duration that could be broken down into days, hours, minutes, which requires you to do not only built-in time formatting, but also, like, actually do straight-up math with the numeric representations of the dates. So, you know, just kill me. Fractional hours, bro. And, like, I don't understand why the old way wasn't sufficient for people. And it was a big pain in the ass for me to do the new way. But I'm forced to acknowledge that the new way, despite having taken up a whole bunch of my time and a small amount of my sanity, was very slightly cleaner in the end than what I had before. So I can't even be mad. At that point, you're making cost-benefit analysis, like, is it worth taking a measurable week off my lifespan to save some motherfucker in Australia 5 seconds when creating a calendar event? These are philosophical questions now. Yeah, I don't think Firm Sneaker's on, right? It doesn't feel like it. I don't intend for it to be on here. And while I'm always concerned that I've slightly fucked up in setting up add-on config, I am 95% sure I moved that shit directly out of the HBD common files and into its own script, specifically so I could exclude it from here, because people are afraid of going fast. By the way, the takes that I see every now and again that go something like boost stacking is easier to control than hard sneaker are insane. Like, now that I've actually fucking used it for a bit, I can comfortably confirm that everyone who unironically believes that is a cryptid. You are not actually a person. I've been having a good time with PSO2. I think I'm literally just gonna start doing Tuesday streams devoted to just like clearing out weeklies and MMOs. I'm gonna slowly become fucking Pat. Do you do Let's Plays anymore? No, but I do my Final Fantasy dailies and complain about Destiny. That's the final fucking form of everyone, I think. The FGC retirement home will claim everyone. What's fucked up is that I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy recently just because I feel like I've basically been logging in just for Raid. There's not a lot of new content. The game's in a long lull because of Crayola. And I feel like I've leveled all the classes that I actually have a long-term interest in playing. So I'm just kind of hanging out. I should just play a bunch of PvP. I should get back to that shit. And it says, still waiting for on-stream tea reviews. You ready to watch me pour an entire carton of almond milk into a fucking mug of chai? And it says, become the PSO2 battle mode grinder. Dude, Battle Arena is kuso as fuck. I cannot wait to see how the fucking netcode holds up in North America. Because it's like as bad as Elsword netcode, but in reverse. Where instead of trusting the defender's client on who got hit, it trusts the fucking attacker's client. And that's awesome. That's fucking amazing. Ido says, it's time to do trials, Tyrone. We must farm the Destiny 2 player base. Destiny looks kinda cool, honestly. I could see myself sort of getting into that. I don't know if I'm into the world design, though, which is, like, the big sticking point for me. A lot of encounter design and fucking combat mechanics seem cool. I don't know if I can be about the world. And if the setting at baseline doesn't feel like a cool place to be, then I feel like I don't have a reason to be there. Ow. Haley says, here's the thing about Destiny, right? Bullet magnetism is a stat, even on PC, and this drop can be variable. Good. Aiming in first-person shooters is like combos in fighting games. It's an outdated and archaic execution test. Let me play fighting game. Let me play footsies in my shooter. Just kidding, but could you imagine? Feels good. Everyone about ready to fucking rush the fucking dugout. I'm so happy. This is the reason to become a streamer. Not for fame and fortune, definitely not for either of those two things. Not to become a powerful social influencer, but just to have a captive audience you can occasionally scare the fuck out of. Like, because Rido's here, I can say this and know that it'll mean something to at least one person. I was scrolling through my old screenshots looking for some documentation on, like, a PSO2 affix that I had on my Japanese character. And I found, like, in chronological order, 4 different irisu.pngs. And I got to experience that for a while. Just hey, what's up? It's me, a content creator you follow on the internet. I'm here to scare the fuck out of you personally for no reason other than being bored. Memories. I feel like my frame pacing's getting fucked up every now and again. Maybe it has something to do with the Steam overlay being hooked. Do you need the overlay specifically hooked in order to use Steam input? Is that actually gonna fucking connect? Yeah, that wasn't tracking shit. Geek says, see, the good thing about knowing AJ as long as I have is that I can do that back to him. You're gonna talk about the fucking thing. I know exactly what you're gonna say. It'll still work. Yeah? Uh-huh. Yeah. I'm not angry, you're angry. Tyrana Future Past. Simomo asks, the only Irisu I know is a cute bunny girl. Is this the same one? Pretty much. Rug says SPB like Guam. Yo, I should give the SPB the Irisu face. That's the best idea I've ever had in my life. Said this. Why is the diamond bat called such when it has nothing to do with diamonds or backs? Windfish in name only, for it is neither. Pizza roll in name only, for it is neither. Chris says, so AJ, is this the part where we post your hot aiming take to Reddit to farm exposure? Oh no. Now you can't distribute everything into exposure. That's like terrible fucking character building strategies. Haley, you know someone believes what I said unironically. You know someone actually has that take. That's why fucking heroes like Winston and Bridget exist in Overwatch. It's like, nah, if I can get close enough to someone to hit them with the beat stick, I should be rewarded. I shouldn't need to aim. Love it when I get griefed by somebody else's inability to drive. Haley says, that take gave me the same feelings when I visited my father 4 months ago. Oh no! Demon says, look, Brig has more going for her than just that. You're right, she also has a lot of exciting source filmmaker animations. Bottom text. Why am I not partnered yet? I wonder. Moji says, look, as somebody who played TF2 heavy for years, I can feel the dark part of my soul that understands it. No, it's like, and especially in like class-based shooters, sometimes it feels like, damn, why does this guy just get to delete me from the map whenever he wants? Because, like, why is it allowed to be broken just because it's hard? Theory Sniper, who never misses a headshot, is the best character in TF2. So we could have a conversation about how aiming in first-person shooters with certain weapon classifications could potentially be considered similar to the Electric Wind Godfist, for instance. I'm sorry. I can't fucking do it. This is a can of worms that should remain closed forever. Rido says, that image of the dominoes falling with the small domino is decentering FPS around aim and the large domino is XQC getting a cult following. No aim, all brain. Anyway, for you to understand a little bit more about where I'm coming from spiritually, with regards to this conversation, I solo mained the P90 in COD 4, so there you go. That's all you need to know about me. That's just the type of person I am. gone, Wario Horn. Kratos is getting a headshot as a taunt jet upper. Yes, and it's exactly that hard, clearly. I'm still remembering. So Azami fucking calls me on Discord. And I pick up the call, and I hear a monster can opening, and then the call disconnects, and then he calls me again, and this is a normal part of the interaction. I just felt I should mention it for context. And he tells me, so I'm having a conversation with somebody in one of the competitive Overwatch Discords, who's asking for tips on how to improve their McCree play. And I go watch their VOD, and they're swinging their crosshair around wildly with every single movement of their mouse. And I go ask them, hey, what's your sensitivity? And they say, I'm not looking for feedback on my sensitivity, I'm looking for how to improve my gameplay. And he's like, okay, but your aim is insane trash, and you can't hit anything except by strafe aiming right mouse button. What's your sensitivity? And they're like, well, it's 40 in-game on 1600 DPI. And he proceeds to describe a conversation with this person lasting like 6 hours and involving half of the Discord at one point coming in as spectators, who all have exciting new opinions on whether or not it is possible to play a competitively viable McCree at 40 cents 1600 DPI. Bro, it's what he's comfortable with. What are you, an elitist? Can't believe you blindly follow pro players when they say their sensitivities. The best sensitivity is the one that works for you, smiley face. Yeah, and it's like, the fucking clear logistics of the situation are, your sensitivity is too high. You cannot move. You're also gonna get carpal tunnel from spending your entire fucking life with your wrist fucking suction cup to your mouse pad, fucking screwing up your tendons. But people are arguing conceptually that you should never change your sensitivity no matter what it is. And that's awesome. That's amazing. Never mind, by the way, that Overwatch still clamps FOV at like 90. For competitive fairness. Which I think is the ultimate reason that I just fucking ditched it. Even before the fucking BlizzCon stuff. Got somebody, maybe. Nope, just dead forever. Is because that combined with the gigantic view models gave me like genuine fucking motion sickness. 2 months from Superbro64, who says good stuff as usual to you and everyone else. Stay safe. Doing my best, man. Fucking couple of us went out to Home Depot the other day to buy a door for down here. So hopefully when I fucking randomly scream, I disrupt less of the house, and they disrupt me when they disrupt me less when they, I don't know, drop pins upstairs from a mile away or something. And Frey comes back in here, and he's wearing his mask, like a good citizen, and he can proceed to keep wearing the mask, because Ethan decides to fucking trim down the door with a hand planer on the basement floor with like nothing set out. And it just worked. I think there's still sawdust in my eyes. Sebas, do you still have that sign nail? Did you put it on a keychain? I feel like I should have. It wasn't a nail, by the way. We bent a screw. We bent a screw into a fucking tilt. Okay. I hate it here. We bent a fucking screw in like 4 different directions. Carpentry's hard. In the end, though, we got things working. We didn't have 100% of the recommended tools. So the fit ain't perfect yet, but it's a door, it works, it closes. And everything that's not 100% perfect about it can be fixed later. So already, massive improvement to my quality of life. Rug says it closes better than my door. Also better than many doors in this house. Like the bathroom door, the one down here, it doesn't close. You kind of have to take things on faith. It's what it is. The upstairs one works though, thank God. Super Rose says, got an AC after dealing with 85 degrees Fahrenheit since June. Summer is hot. Yeah, no kidding. I don't miss fucking Phoenix. I seriously do not miss. Somebody got a hellhorn. 120 degree summers. That's like 48 Celsius for those of you who aren't familiar with freedom units. At least it was dry heat, but opening your door and feeling like you're opening up a fucking oven. Bad feeling. Not a fan. So get this right, the keycard I used to get into my room stops working. I go downstairs and get a master key, painful process. I come back up, stick the key in the lock, twist it stuck, twist really hard, lock unscrews from the door. I now have a master key and a lock detached from the door still doesn't work. Jesus. You gotta get the lockpicking lawyer on your shit immediately. A serious design flaw where the lock can be unscrewed from the door while it is operating. Super Bro says, that's a solid 30 to 40 degrees hotter than I can ever get over here. Does it actually matter that it's dry heat? Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I will take 120 with low humidity over like 100 with high humidity every time. Twill somewhere in the distance. Don't come to Florida. Oh man, what is with that frame drop? The fuck? Louisiana. Yeah, also that. Swamp states. Okay, so Haley, I'm gonna read your chat message the way that my brain initially interpreted it. I keep my room at a constant 60 frames year-round. Broken. You know, it's important to keep the frame rate of your living situation stable. We unlock that shit immediately. Personally, I prefer my room at 144 FPS. Bro, explaining to people that I have a 155 Hz monitor is fucking confusing. I'll like remove the camera here for just a second so you can see my G-Sync lock at 151, which seems like the most arbitrary fucking frame rate possible. Yeah, it's a fucking Dell 144 Hz 1440p panel that happens to just overclock to 155 for no discernible loss in image quality from where I'm standing, so I'm like, why the fuck not? But then you get games who are like trying to be helpful, like, oh, you can limit your FPS at 60, 120, or 144, or 240 FPS. And I'm like, hey, but where's 151 though? He says, my room is the fucking deadly premonition 2 of rooms. Can't keep a frame rate for shit. You come in my room and it's fucking Ocarina of Time. Remake or original? Rug says, wins pre-nerf Kodachrome. Literally not in the game files anymore. A slightly less nerfed version of Kodachrome is in the Encore palette by default, but on all my servers I replaced that because I think it poses like a legitimate photosensitivity hazard. So instead there's a kind of sick fucking Game Boy palette that gets used instead. I just had to start sidewalking in the room to time save. Let me just fucking hyperspeed slide away from the fucking monsters under my bed. Oh no! Yeah. Pretty sure SPB running on Kodachrome is actually, like, not possible for humans. Rug says, have to stare at the floor in my own room so that all my shit doesn't render. You fucking joke? Fucking West tells stories about a guy who used to play fucking, what, is it West? No, I think it's Ethan and Daryl telling stories about a guy that used to fucking play WoW Battlegrounds with, or, arenas, where his computer was fucking made of wood, basically, and would literally, like, shut down from overheating if he played the game normally. So instead, he played in a minimum-sized window, and he stared at the floor the entire time with his camera maximally zoomed in, and he played entirely off, like, party frames. And I think that's awesome. I think that's fucking incredible. Just party frames and sound cues. There are situations like those where you fucking wonder, like, literally how the fuck did you get into video games as a hobby, if this is your experience? I think about that sometimes. Like, I realize that, statistically speaking, it's fairly likely that every game I've played on the Kusoge Advent Calendar is at least one person's first video game. Like, the first one they ever played. Maybe the last one. It's fucked. For what it's worth, I've been fucking bawling out of the gym on that write-up. I'd say I'm probably about 60 to 70% done with the text, and 0% done with visuals. But visuals are usually the easy part. Run says, AJ, it's been like 7 months, what the fuck? Well, it's also longer than any of them. I'll defend myself with that. Really what it was is I spent a week balling out of the gym, and then I spent 6.5 months doing nothing except not wanting to listen to my own VODs. And then I spent another week balling out of the gym. If that tells you anything about my creative process. Basically, I can only get anything done when I'm caffeinated enough to, like, not realize how much I hate myself and everything I create. Which is not a useful trait, but it's something I've adjusted to. I'm slowly becoming more familiar with that. Alright, says, you just gotta start doing cocaine, that's how Stephen King did it. Yeah, that's the strat. You read a whole bunch of books while, like, out of your fucking mind on cocaine, and then you write another book about how fucked up you are because you do so much cocaine. That way you kind of double dip on the efficiency. It's a value add. As when do I booze you up and get you to finish the 2020 KAC write-up? 2020? You want me to write a write-up for an advent calendar that hasn't happened yet? What the fuck? December is the last month in the year, by the way. I'm assuming it's gonna take this long for us to get there. Ah, maybe. Just use future sight. Legit. Oh no, I'm dead. That's the strat. It's the best. Easy. I mean, I already threatened myself. I have a dead man switch that I will never dare trigger, which is that if it's not done by the end of the month, I have to play an entire Zelda game through on stream with chat turned off, and then I know I'll go back later and read chat and wanna fucking kill myself. pizza. So you don't finish the write-up by the end of this month, I will literally drink water. Oh yeah, we got that too. Gotta watch out for the health of my friends after all. So I remember, and this is something that I still feel kind of sour about, but like conceptually it's sort of funny, so I appreciate it. So I used to be like conceptually thinking of trying to do a stream team thing with roomies, including somebody who is not currently in our situation. And that particular guy really didn't like spoilers. And his definition of a spoiler was very, 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 very wide. Like, disgustingly wide. So basically, providing any information or speculation on any mechanic or, like, aesthetic element of a game was a spoiler. Like, you mentioned something that was on, like, the back of the box. It's probably a spoiler. The game is about 20 hours long. Spoiler. Etc., etc. And so, obviously, this makes chat interaction kind of difficult. So eventually, what we ended up fucking doing is literally generating a side channel chat where people would, like, use a certain character code to make their messages invisible to him, so they could argue about shit while not, like, telling him anything. And it took me a while to realize how fucking conceptually hilarious that is. Like, I thought it was a pretty clever solution at the time, and I'll still stand by that. But also, what the fuck? And yeah, you probably know who that is. It isn't fucking hard for you to find me, like, streaming with them or living with them previously. I've made an effort to keep their name out of my fucking mouth because it's been a long time since then, and I obviously don't want to fucking slander everybody. You want to have a really bad and depressing conversation? Let's talk about forgiveness online. Oh man. Let's talk about anything but that. Can I just ask if the name starts with an L? Screen name? Yes. Real name, no. He says, that person was me, sounds like literally me. And I mean, like, I empathize too. I think it makes perfect sense to want to experience games as blind as possible. It's just that, like, it became an issue because when your definition of spoilers doesn't match basically anybody else's definition of spoilers. Like, when you intentionally recuse yourself from information that 95% of the rest of the world would use to, like, determine whether to even buy the game in the first place, then, like, obviously that's gonna cause a problem when your reaction to being spoiled is also, how dare you ruin this element of the game for me? And it's like, that's not something you're choosing to be mad about. So I respect it. It's like, it's just kind of a mentality thing you gotta fucking mitigate however you like. But yeah, there's a point where you just might want to turn chat off. We wanted to avoid that. I mean, what have I been doing here for like the past hour and 15? Literally just fucking trolling the shit out of everyone here. That says non sequitur. Bro, they're making a Space Station 14. Yeah. Oh no. Nice horn. How fucked am I right now? Is this a boost item? Okay, now I'm dead. Now I'm fucking dead. I would say it was worth it, but it totally wasn't. PlayStation 12.3, so that's so fucking fuck off. Oh my goodness. Steve says their definition of spoilers still sounds like mine, especially the stricter than anyone else on the planet, but yeah, I just avoid stream/stuff on my own terms. Yeah, I feel that. Like, I don't mean to belittle the concept of, like, wanting to avoid information. I believe basically all media is best experienced with as little expectations as possible. Oh no. Like, there's a lot of shit. And it's something that I've kind of fucking forgotten about, as I realize that I play fewer and fewer fucking single-player games every year. But there are a lot of experiences I've had where, like, things would have been remarkably different if I had done some shit like watch a speedrun video first, which is how I get into some games. It's like I'll see some shit on task videos or something and I'm like, huh, this seems kind of interesting. Which is like, okay, so that's a vertical slice for sure. There's, possibly more honest than a trailer can even possibly be, but what do we lose? Wolves, are you here? What the fuck is the profile picture you set for this webhook? What on fucking earth? If a shark asks, have you played Celeste out of curiosity? Yes, actually. I played it through to the end, haven't revisited it for the post-game chapter that was added a while after release. I have fucked around with some of the B-sides and C-sides, but I haven't completed much outside of the main game. Because I kind of felt like I'd had my time with it. Teach me how to code games, asks. The game is freezing, but the face cam is still active? Yeah, that happens when I tab out of the game. Since I have it in exclusive full screen, it stops rendering when I tab out. And I do occasionally have to check on some other stuff in other channels. I try not to task switch when gameplay's actually running. That's another one of those things where I feel like the appeal of a fucking dedicated stream PC becomes a little more obvious. But in addition to hilarious costs associated with that, stuff like getting audio between machines is just a massive nightmare. Deep says, I might even avoid back of the boxes these days. I mean, I don't know about avoiding back of the box or like Steam descriptions, but I will say I'll absolutely, like, where I can, I'll avoid like trailers and that kind of marketing material. Unless it's something that I already, like, expect to know a lot about. Just because fucking trailers are written by people who don't have shit to do with fuck 99% of the time. They're terrible representations because a trailer kind of has to be. And they can set up your expectations in ways that don't make any sense. Oh dear. I'm fucked. And obviously, like, super small indies are excused from the who the fuck knows who's making the trailer clause, because the person making the trailer is probably the person who fucking programmed the game. Shoutouts to that. He says, thinking about that post describing how they put together the Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric trailer to make the game look as not trash as possible. That actually sounds like an interesting write-up. You wanna fucking... If you can find that, you wanna drop that in, fucking general? Adios, Ebe. I actually can't think of any single-player games that I'm particularly looking forward to playing right now. Other than, like, now that I finally have a blood pack to at some point fucking play it, I am kind of looking forward to Drama Team. Because I get the general impression that I probably just have to bust through the opening operations from the other team members not being particularly interesting before I get to gameplay that's probably actually pretty decent. Like, I enjoy the core of what's there, I think. My primary thing regarding Trauma Team is that I didn't want to do with what I interpreted at the time as a whole bunch of bullshit filler content. As asked, do I need to force feed you short games now? Nah, because I already have a MAME ROM set. Real though. Why do I fuck with anything that isn't an arcade game? Fucking... What was the last single-player thing I did that really, really fucking stuck with me? Was it... Oh my god, Jesus. Was it fucking A Short Hike? I had a great time with that, actually. Deeply fucking wholesome. Dumb at times, absolutely, but very wholesome. Saved your life just to kill you, I guess. Also detonated that mine for style points. He says Giga Shooter. That was a collaborative multiplayer experience. That was like, that was group puzzle solving as far as I'm concerned. Oh, fuck. But yeah, I've been finding more value in multiplayer experiences than single-player experiences recently. I think I just get really fucking drawn in by, like, the self-improvement grind. The feeling that all I have to do to, like, maximally invest myself into something is to just fucking play it. No mindset adjustments required. Oh dear. I have played around with the incredibly fucking self-damaging idea of putting like a 42 million channel point reward into the system that is just, I will play any game you name to completion. And I think the reason I've been considering it isn't because I actually want to, but just because I am so fucking curious what people will force feed me. Like, I know Hikari would roll in here like, fucking play Trails of Cold Steel. 700 hours long. Easy clap. That says easy honey select to get you perma'd, farmed instantly. Is there a way you can make honey select safe for work? Like, what kind of heaven and earth do you have to move? You do, like, the opposite of the multi-mod patch. Instead of decensoring everything, you fucking recensor everything. No, like, whole screen gets mosaic. Whole fucking thing. Whole time. Eve says, would 2 completion mean a 1cc for an arcade game? And this is the part where Ebe throws Ketsui into the list and ruins my life for the next 20 years. No, you have to 2-all. He says, nah, Saidaiyojo. Is Saidaiyojo a really hard 1-all? I know Inbachi is, like, super fucked up by Idiot, but I haven't heard too much about the 1-all difficulty. I know Venice streamed Honey Select at one point. That was a good time. Because Venice does what Venice wants. I've realized more and more as I play, like, fucking arcade games and shit, that I'm actually fundamentally anti-difficulty levels. Like, just flat ass. The existence of a difficulty selector stresses me out more than any gains I will ever make from actually playing the game on a different level of challenge. It's like in my submission, the ideal function of a fucking selectable difficulty, of adjustable difficulty, is for a developer to be able to take into account a player's varying level of aptitude and genre familiarity and dexterity and what have you, and tune the challenges of the game so that they more appropriately convey the feelings they're intended to convey. And the problem is that unless you are fucking mind-blowingly clear and transparent about what difficulty options actually do and who they're intended for, you create nightmare problems for people like me, who are constantly stressed out that they're playing on the wrong difficulty. Even stuff as simple as like, okay, well, do we allow players to change the difficulty midway through, or do we not? If you have difficulty that you can change midway through, the temptation and subsequent stress associated with, do I take down the difficulty for this section that's kicking my ass disproportionately, or this section that I'm not finding very enjoyable? Am I robbing myself of an experience that I would have wanted to have if I basically skip this section or nerf it down into the ground by switching the difficulty down here? And if you don't fucking let people switch whenever they want, then you create a situation where somebody fucking selects their difficulty based on the opening gameplay, only to discover that the first 10 hours is a tutorial, and that the fucking harder than hard mode they selected, thinking it was appropriate, actually beats their fucking face in, and now they have to make a choice of losing progress or fucking suffering. Essex says, this said, how do you feel about DMC's difficulties? Similarly? I think the stuff that succeeds the most for me in, like, calming the stress while also finding an appropriate level of challenge that I find enjoyable is either, like, explicit, intended to be controllable dynamic difficulty, stuff like rank and arcade games, where, like, controlling the difficulty is part of the game and an intended component of the experience. Or something like the fucking Smash Bros. Or Kid Icarus Uprising intensity systems. Fat-ass robot. Fat-ass robot. Fuck out of here. Where they're not really, like, intended to select your appropriate level of challenge so much as they give you an opportunity to, like... It's asking you to estimate what you're capable of personally in order to achieve maximum reward or what have you. And that, to me, feels fucking engaging. Geek says, the thing about DMC is that you can't actually start above normal and the higher difficulties are just for replays. Well, I remember in DMC 4 Vanilla, I think all of the difficulty levels, or at least a number of them, were available from the beginning. And the Shark says, honestly, it might be interesting to pick something like Dirt Rally with as many assists off as you could stomach. See, that's the sort of thing where, like, I know Forza is not actually a sim racer in any fucking capacity. But I did, like, I'd constantly find myself fiddling with the assists in Forza, and wondering whether or not I actually want the fucking racing line overlay on. Like, is it a meaningful part of the game that I care about to try and fucking figure out racing lines on my own? I don't fucking know. Geek says, DMC4 PC/SE lets you start at that weird initially PC exclusive difficulty for some reason. Oh yeah, the fucking one where it would just flood the screen with enemies because the PC could technically handle it. That shit's hilarious, by the way. I think DMC4, wow, hit rate. DMC4 still kind of fucking presents the gold standard for PC ports. Like, I think it might actually just be one of the best ones ever. Legendary Dark Knight, is that what it's called? Yeah. Superbro asks, for those of you who play sim racers with assists off, do you just restart if it appears that you have no chance of a comeback? Oh man. The conversations that I had with myself about stuff like the rewind system in Forza, where basically the game is asking me to select how much progress I want to lose when I fuck up. And I'm like, I don't fucking know the answer to that. Are you kidding me? Geek says, DMC 1 and 3 don't even start with easy unlocked. You have to die 3 times to unlock it. Yeah. That was the good shit. Back when I deeply channeled DSP because I literally couldn't see anything on the screen because of a shitty TV. Still mad. Still mad. Easy mode is now selectable is such a powerful flex, though. Sab asks, apropos of nothing, did you try Inertial Drift? I didn't really like it, but I heard that many people did. I feel like I've heard that title, but I'm not sure. And the Shark says, Dirt Rally cuts your winnings every time you restart? Oh man, that sounds infuriating, but also kinda cool. Huh. I might have to unpack how I feel about that. Jesus. I feel like I've commented on like things that are actually happening in the game almost zero, and shit that's happening in the chat almost exclusively. Says, also, I think difficulty selection in a 40-minute old-school game versus difficulty selection in an 8-hour action game versus difficulty selection in a 100-hour RPG aren't the same decision. Yeah, for sure. RPG difficulty settings are insane, too, because what people want out of the game and the experience they expect to have... Wow, that was a fucking shot. They vary so wildly, and I don't think it's as drastic for any other genre at, like, a cursory glance. Because there are people who are just there for, like, story, characters, actual role-playing elements. There are people who are there to, like, sink their teeth into the combat mechanics and bust things wide open. There are people who think that grinding is not only an inevitability of every RPG, but a requirement and something they find relaxing or enjoyable. Either because it lets them fucking turn their brain off and abnegate forever, or because they find it interesting to create setups that are capable of grinding the most efficiently. there's like so many different expectations of what an RPG should actually be that like trying to difficulty balance is not a task I envy. Oh, good. Eve says, I want to hear more about not aiming an FPS. Open that can of worms, stop having it be closed. Oh, God. Actually, on that note, somebody mentioned somebody's talking about racers and, failed the lap once, try to restart the entire cup over. Fucking both Redout and Ballistic NG have tournament events in their campaign modes, and they're multiple races spread up together, and they only count for the rewards of one race with regards to campaign completion, which is already frustrating. Because, like, if you're just trying to progress, you naturally feel inclined to avoid those events when they offer, like, they offer stuff that you don't get elsewhere in the game, but because you don't feel appropriately rewarded, you're like, this is a waste of my time, I'd rather do a single event. Oh, fuck. But then I started thinking about how Ballistic NG forces you to restart the entire tournament if you want to restart. Like, if you fuck up and you fall too far behind to hit your required medal, you gotta do all the races over. Which I thought was the standard. I'd never seen any game do it any other way. Redout lets you restart individual races in the tournament without losing your progress in that event. And that is really confusing to me. I've never encountered that before, and I'm still trying to fucking decide how I feel about it. Because at that point, what is the difference between a tournament event and just playing a series of other events in a row? Oh dear. Yep, I had to bail out of that one. Super Bro says, I'm reminded of Sonic Racing Transformed. It appears you can pick and choose what you want, but if you want to play the final challenge, you have to beat everything on the secret S rank. That's... honestly, that kind of reveal makes me really happy. This one might be diving deep, but does anyone remember the old Flash game, The Impossible Quiz? Incoming spoilers for a Flash game that might actually be over like 10 years old, by the way. So, The Impossible Quiz was bullshit trial and error throughout, but every couple of questions, basically, it would award you with a skip that you could use to just fucking... you click it, and you'd piece out of any question and move straight on to the next one without even having to deal with it. So, for like, hey, I just want to make it further on the limited stock of lives that I have, it was like a really useful resource. You could skip over stuff that was super time consuming or you couldn't do reliably, or even stuff that you'd just been stuck on for like half an hour and absolutely could not find the solution to. And the fucking dramatic twist at the very end is that the final question requires you to use all of your skips on it, or you just die right there. So if you made it there using like your 7 or 8 fucking skips to dodge problem questions, you're staring this thing down and you realize all at once, fucking blood running cold, oh fuck, I have to go back and do it all over. That's the fucking super Ghouls and Ghosts shit. Fucking game yeets you back to the beginning because nope, no goddess bracelet, no bye. Fuck out of here. It's the stuff of nightmares. It is so fucking cool. Bonk. Rido says, back when games were actively malicious, instead the worst you get are just bad games. The idea of games being actively player hostile is like so fucking compelling to me for reasons that I can't quite pin down. Has anybody else done the weird YouTube rabbit hole deep dive on, like, anti-piracy mechanisms in games? Just me? I know somebody else here has to have had this experience. Okay. So literally everyone. Okay. I'm glad to be among friends. I think the one that almost everybody knows is Earthbound. I think about as many people have seen, like, Kirby's Dream Course or Serious Sam with the fucking Immortal Pink Scorpion, shit like that. There's some shit going around about the fucking Cuphead anti-piracy that I think is actually just a creepypasta. Some guy on Reddit alleging there was a screamer in pirated copies of the game. Shit like that. Yeah, and Spyro. I know a couple of you motherfuckers had to have read the Gamma Sutra article on the insane shit that they did for fucking Spyro 3, I think it was. Yeah, Arma, with the shit where your, like, weapons gradually become shitty over time until you can't even hit the fucking broadside of a barn. And that, to me, combines two really interesting and fucking compelling areas of design. You get, like, the feeling of witnessing, like, out-of-bounds shit, like, stuff outside the game, places you're not supposed to be, where, like, the premise of the game as kind of an encapsulated entertainment experience is tested. Where it's like, oh, no, this shit, the fucking boundaries are not as clear as I thought they were. And then also the idea of fucking games actively being hostile to you, to, like, trying to impede you, trying to harm you in some way. If you had nightmares about the blue screen of death as a kid, you have anxiety now. Let's fucking go. And of course there's the technical aspects too, and, like, I mean, fucking go on a deep dive regarding the fucking early Wares scene. The fucking rapidly escalating battle between software pirates and software publishers. Fucking literally every piece of commercial software fucking being distributed on every BBS on the planet before we even had, like, legal mechanisms to deal with people being fucking pirates on the scale that we see today. Bro says, BSOD or PS2 red screen disc error. Fucking... There's so much weird old computer shit from my childhood that I remember having fucking weird aversion or fear of. I think the universal example of it is stuff like the Windows XP startup sound being the loudest and most terrifying noise on the planet, specifically at 2 AM on a school night. Oh yeah, you've told the Loadrunner story. I feel like you should write it down somewhere because it makes me really happy. Ow. Ah well, still podium. Chris says, I got reminded of that Arma anti-cheat the other day because of a guy who's distributing fake CSGO hacks that trigger events like toss fire grenade straight down and disable movement, or 50% chance to toss gun while spraying. Yo. So you just randomly fucking throw, it's cheats that make you shit at the game? Excellent. But yeah, stuff like weird error screens. I mean, there's already this weird fucking YouTube culture of, people who just post fucking wacky error screens from, like, really weird failure conditions. Entire playlists containing everything from, like, the fucking shit that would happen if you put a Dreamcast game into a CD player to, like, messages about Xbox One's overheating because of fucking blocked fans. Because there's fascination there, the fucking feeling of being out of bounds. I think it's the same fucking thing that drives, like, what we find so compelling about creepypasta. Oh dear. Fuck, that is a good trap spot. Seb asks, what happens with the Dreamcast CD? Oh, a lot of fucking consoles that used, CD media they'll do something, at least certain games will, when you throw them into a CD player. They'll have, like, on track 2, they'll have, like, a small amount of CD audio that's intended to play in standard players that's like, warning, this is a fucking Sega CD disc. Track 1 contains data that may damage your audio system, so please don't play it. Take this shit out and put it in the fucking Sega CD. And the ones that I particularly remember from the Dreamcast are, there's a couple games. I don't remember the titles. I think some of the Shenmue games and then like Skies of Arcadia or something, where like they'd have little skits done in character about like, hey, this is a Dreamcast disc. We can't save the world from the fucking CD player, so put us back in the goddamn Dreamcast. I think the one of those that you're most likely to have heard was from Symphony of the Night. As you can see, this is a PlayStation Black disc. And then it just launches into a fucking 3-minute jam. That's good shit. Worth Chaser says, that's a big water bottle? Gallon jug. Fucking best investment of my life. Haley says, I thought that said DP and not :D question mark. Yeah, let me just take a sip of my Dragon Punch juice. Actually, shit, I don't even need to add the word juice to that. Let me take a sip of my Dragon Punch was such a good joke on its own, and I left it on the fucking floor. Oh my god, can you ever forgive me? Mind-blowing. Haley says, I'm using that one. It's licensed under, Creative Commons 3.0 by attribution. Rose says, I remember an old memory of Animal Crossing GameCube and how his kids got Rossetti so mad that he gave us a task to do that we couldn't complete. So we had to get our parents to help us at the time. Man, yeah, stuff like Rossetti is so interesting. Where a game, like, busts out of the fucking boundaries you expect it to have. The amazing thing was the fucking crazy multi-level piracy protection shit. Where, like, you'd have a first layer that was just designed to stop fucking low-effort attempts. And then for anyone who was, like, super into fucking... Like, they wanted to actually bypass or remove the protection and fuck around. They wanted to go hard. You'd have something for them, too, where it would look like the game was working. But closer testing would reveal it to be fucked up in some important way. And I feel like this stuff was actually weirdly common. Where, like, oh dear, nice connection. A lot of games would check for the checksum of whatever code responsible for doing cartridge copier detections or whatever the fuck. They'd check the checksum of that and then have some, like, subtle fucking escape hatch behavior that would put the game on fucking ultra hard mode. Or screw with you in other whack ways. Yeah, the gliding failing in Arkham Asylum. What is the square root of a fish? Now I'm sad. Fucking, that was Skullgirls, by the way. It was designed to get pirates to out themselves. Fucking, I know a lot of, Konami games would just make you die in one hit in pirated copies if, like, the logo had been removed. So not pirated so much as, like, bootlegs. Mirror's Edge 1, yeah, where, like, Faith would slow down at the edge of any jump, or at certain jumps, I think it was. So certain sections of the game would be impossible to complete because you couldn't get a running start. And yeah, I think the reason stuff like the fucking Sonic Gather Battle anti-cheat fucking freaked out. And I mean, like, what it did was really fucking unremarkable, and naturally the internet blew it out of proportion, assuming that it was a fucking... anywhere from, like, legitimate IRL creepypasta territory to just, like, some kind of fucking Trojan.
Easy.
When all it would do is, if it detected you had, like, cheat engine, or anything that looked like cheat engine open, then it would fucking send some stats back to the developer and try to give you a little jolt. The guy apparently super concerned about, like, cheats being distributed or his sprites being ripped. And I mean, like, getting super overprotective over the work that you illegally modified yourself is, like, peak Sonic community for what that's worth. And then you get to stuff like, man, if you haven't already, maybe look into the fucking, that was a weird bonk, by the way. Look into the fucking Jason Scott talk about, like, the history of software piracy. Where, like, basically the entire commercial software world was getting owned by a bunch of 14-year-old kids on their fucking Apple IIs who were, like, having schoolyard shit fights where they dox each other and, like, fucking call out rival groups and all that shit. Big fucking wars over, crack intros and fucking attribution and all that. Chris says, the fact that it did that shit on Google search was actually what made it creepy. Yeah, because the fucking, I think the detection mechanism was just looking for the word cheat engine in the window title or, like, the title of a running process. So if you Google searched cheat engine, the game would immediately interpret it as, hey, that's cheat engine over there. Whenever I join a multiplayer lobby, my username says Codex for some reason? Yes, exactly. The resultant patch I saw, where, like... So a game with very, like, weak or non-existent multiplayer protection gets cracked pretty quickly, and a multiplayer crack gets distributed, and it sets your default name to the name of the crack group, as is common. And so, the solution to this is that they fucking patch the game, or the master server, or something like that, to send a message to anybody with that name specifically that said, we've notified the FBI, get ready for the storm. So if you didn't change your default username, then it would fucking scare the shit out of you. It's fucking excellent. Ow. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in this race. Kart is such a nice game to relax with, man. Sometimes I get, like, fucking frothing mad, but a good percentage of the time it's literally just, huh, this is a nice game to chill out with. Mido says, throw back to soft modding the Wii, and if you choose the option that implies you're going to pirate games, it restarts your Wii. Oh man, it does so much more than restart your Wii. Okay, so here we go, right? So you had to install some fucking patches to your system on the fucking Wii, the OG Wii, to be able to use stuff like USB backup loaders. You had to patch a couple system interfaces to make sure that the game would actually, like, accept system, would actually read game files from backups, and that it could, like, be set up correctly so that you could kind of fake the environment a retail game would expect from homebrew. And, like, so this is in addition to Wii modding being super scary to begin with, because you have to use exploits to get in, and then all the fucking tooling that's associated with it is not only super arcane and, like, pretty close to the metal with regards to the way it describes things, but there's also fucking warnings put up constantly everywhere about how you can brick your shit. This should not be sold, unskippable 30-second dialogue, stuff like that. So eventually you get to some shit where basically there's a really easy, like, popular one-stop utility that's designed to stub out a couple iOSs, like patch over a couple things, and basically set up your system so that it's totally 100% good to go with any USB backup loader of your choice. And it asks you a couple questions about your setup, and it goes through and patches all the relevant shit. And then, at the very end, it asks you the question, we may need to install some extra utilities depending on your use case. Do you intend to use this system to play backups of games that you do not own? And if you choose yes on that screen, it uninstalls everything it just did and puts up a full screen message about how you're a horrible shithead for pirating games, that the author is so disgusted you would use their work for piracy instead of legitimate backup loading that you make them want to leave the scene, and that you get nothing because you are a morally reprehensible human being. That's not where it stops, though. If you started up the utility again, intending to choose the other option, it remembered. It didn't have anything in it for fucking, like, there was no obvious save data you could manipulate from, like, the save menu or anything like that, of course. But somehow, it would scare the fuck out of you by remembering what you had picked and showing you a message, something like, I don't think so. Go get your shit somewhere else, I'm not helping you. And it would remain locked down like that until you'd either relaunched it something like 15 times, enduring a different message every single time. By the way, every time you did this, it would lock up your Wii for a longer period of time displaying this message. It was unskippable. Or until you had put in at least 5 retail games and played them to prove to the author that you actually fucking purchased games for the Wii. Fucking awesome. And so, man, the fucking Wii Homebrew's so cozy too once you get it set up, but everything about the setup process, back before it was made super, super fucking easy with Letterbomb and shit, was just nightmarish. Yeah, because not every guide at that time would tell you to use that particular patcher. There were a lot of different utilities designed to set up your fucking system in such a way that you could use backup loaders. And hell, a lot of people never even bothered to set up USB backup loaders because they had kind of specific requirements about what you could actually store the games on. And depending on the storage medium you used, the performance might not have been great. A lot of people just burned discs the whole time. I think the fucking peak Nightmare Realm homebrew for me comes from Cold Boot Haxchi for the Wii U, where basically it would cannibalize a legitimate DS Virtual Console game, right? Because it had the required signing and everything, and you could exploit it to get it to run arbitrary code with like a malformed save file or something. And so it would basically take over from that game, which was running legitimately with like legitimate keys and everything, and it would rig up your system in such a way that normally you'd have to launch that poisoned game basically every single time you wanted to do stuff like turn on signature patches or run homebrew. You'd have to do that first and basically reboot, so it would patch your system menu. But the cold boot method allowed you to make it run automatically. It would basically like replace the system menu in that way. You just turn on your machine and it would work perfectly. The catch being that if you ever moved, deleted, like fucking reinstalled, cleared data for the game, if you ever like deleted the user it belonged to, if you ever formatted your Wii without properly uninstalling this shit beforehand, you would be in an unrecoverable brick. You would never be able to use your system again. Like actual hard brick. And the way they decide to denote this and remind people that they're kind of playing with fire and operating really close to a bricked system if they don't follow the instructions is that they change the icon of the game. And the icon is a gigantic yellow warning triangle with the words, "Don't touch me," written on it. Could you make it more terrifying? What the fuck? That's so horrifying. Jesus. All the weird different entry points you used to have for fucking Wii Homebrew. Like, before Letter Bomb existed and trivialized the entire thing for everybody, it was like, you got in through fucking Brawl, through fucking Stack Smash or something like that. You had Twilight Hack, fucking Lego Indiana Jones had an entry point. I feel like everybody who did Wii Homebrew has, like, really specific memories because of how many different ways there were to do things at the time. Yeah, Indiana Jones, exactly. Which is the best fucking name. I actually need to set up my Homebrew Switch again for emulation and shit. The Switch Homebrew community is still moving pretty fast, and sometimes it's stressful to maintain Homebrew for a system that's still being actively supported. Like, the 3DS is super cozy right now because that shit hasn't received updates in a million gorillion years. So when you install your shit, you're done forever. Like, the Homebrew's as good as it's ever gonna get, and it's been refined to, like, perfection. The Switch scene is still kinda out there. Rido says, the FNIF 1 anti-piracy measure where you get jump scared upon exiting the game. Is that a real thing? Is that not just creepypasta? I had no idea, actually. Sleepmode says, 3DS Homebrew is godlike, also hi. 3DS Homebrew is on par with PSP Homebrew now, I'd say. Man, I feel like I was raised on the PSP browser. Fucking shit like picking up Wipeout Pure from our local library. I got a UMD copy of Wipeout Pure from the library just to do the browser exploit, and then accidentally realizing that Wipeout was like one of the greatest racing game franchises of all time, and becoming a huge fucking fan of it, and then also never doing the browser exploit successfully because fucking firmware 2.0 came out like a month later that happened to have the built-in web browser. But yeah, I feel like I was raised on that shit. Anybody else? This is gonna be really specific, right? But like the specific section of Newgrounds intended for the PSP, where they'd have like Flash video encoded as like 3GP because the PSP didn't really do Flash all that good. That's like... The internet used to be fucking weird. But yeah, the amount of exploits for consoles in particular that just don't take into account the fact that anybody can do whatever they want with DNS. Or like a proxy. That if you give somebody the ability to load one web page, you almost always have given them the ability to load every web page, given some, given even a small amount of fucking preparation. And like, PSP Homebrew progressed so far in such a short amount of time. It went from like literally needing a modded battery to put your shit into developer mode, fucking Pandora batteries, who up, to just being able to load on, like, a fucking one-stop exploit that you'd literally just click on in the software list, and boom, your shit's hacked. You actually don't need Pandora batteries anymore. Yeah, there's like a software-only exploit that doesn't require shit. It's crazy. Superbro asks, does the Switch still have that secret web browser? I think so, yes, because it's used for the help menu in certain games. Last says, I can't wait for the day when Switch modding doesn't require a jig. I've got a nice 3D printed jig, and Auto RCM does a lot of the work for you, but I still think Switch modding is pretty fucking awkward. Which is crazy, because the Switch is like one of the coziest handhelds maybe ever. Oh no. Dead player over here. Man, how do we even fucking get to this conversation? But yeah, I'm unapologetically looking forward to going back through the PS4 library once the system is super out of support. For what it's worth, we have Frey's physical PS4 here with like 10 legitimately purchased physical games, and I bought Wipeout Omega Collection. I fucking caved because it is so heartbreakingly fucking gorgeous. Oops. How ahead am I right now? About half a turn? 2 turns if you ask anybody that isn't Runa. Sleep Mode says, Wipeout is up there with, like, Ridge Racer for me in terms of kick-ass arcade-style racers. The GOAT, forever and always, will always be Outrun 2. Forever. The fucking 8-player, 4-networked cab, fucking duplex special edition Outrun 2. There will never be anything better. Also, I'm dead. It's just physiologically impossible to create a better arcade racer. I still have the fucking PC version of that shit, which got delisted from Steam after they lost the Ferrari license. And I seriously need to play it more often. Like, seriously, how many of y'all have not seen the Outrun 2 Special Deluxe cab? Because if anybody fucking here hasn't seen that shit, I'm about to literally go on spec and bring it up. It is like a masterclass in fucking cabinet design. Alright, we're getting the fuck out of here, hold on. Yeah, DX/XDX. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this. The AM2, possibly for heroic legends only. Oh, this is loud as shit. Hold on. Look at this shit. Look at how fucking cool that is. 8 players, 4 networked cabs, 8 sets of fucking pedals. Fucking the spectator shit up top, where it'll show you like which point of view you're watching. I think the screen is off in this setup, but it'd show you not only the fucking point of view of whoever was leading, but there's fucking cameras in this shit that'll give you like it'll give you like a reverse perspective of the people who are playing in that car. The fucking cars move. They have force feedback. The fucking soundstage is excellent. There's speakers on fucking all sides of you. It is the good shit. God bless the fucking requirement to have a panic button on every single moving cab, by the way. You're on like a fucking F-Zero AX cab, and it's like, uh-oh, actually, I don't want to be upside down right now. Super Rose says, sounds like this costs as much as a private plane. You probably need to pay like $5 per credit. At the mall arcade I used to go to play this, I fucking mass my EB in Final Fantasy. Fucking Raider Extraordinaire. We used to do arcade days, where we'd just fuck off to a shitty mall arcade and play DDR and poppin' music and Outrun for a whole day. Fucking taking a break for shitty food court Japanese that was always way better than it had any right to be. And this shit was 75 cents a credit, and you'd get long plays out of it. Fucking, sometimes arcade ops are good. That's all I'm saying. It's... There is nothing quite like getting onto a fucking full 8-man race in this shit and going like full-ass nail-biter to the end. It is the good shit. Sanku Japan, by the way. We passed by one of those while we were fucking trawling round 1 up in Chicago for Frosty Faustings. And I made everyone fucking stop. Because you must do the teriyaki shrimp combo, and you must explain raid mechanics with whatever is on the table at the time. That was what we always used to fucking do. It would be, we'd take a break from fucking rhythm game nonsense where both of us would beat the shit out of ourselves on DDR. Me because at the time I was hilariously out of shape and like nearly 200 pounds. And Mass because the exact opposite, because she literally had to fucking stomp on the pad to get the fucking thing to register. And we were done fucking beating the shit out of each other with that. We'd fucking line up at the food court, teriyaki shrimp combos, and then I would get to hear for 45 minutes, invariably, about whatever fucking thing in the latest raid tier was kicking our ass. And the improvised raid diagrams that I saw were fucking incredible. It started as like laying stuff out with like napkins or like drawing diagrams in like the top of a styrofoam food container with a toothpick. And I think the absolute high point is when she literally removes an ice cube from her drink, puts it in the center of the table, and says, okay, so this is waymark A. And I know immediately, alright. So, we're reaching psychosis levels of rating today. I think everybody, any arcade aficionado, is fucking in deep suffering territory right now because of fucking COVID. And even if places are still opening, even if places are reopening, everybody kind of knows that it's not somewhere you want to be, mask or no mask. And I worry sometimes that a lot of places aren't going to come back the same, that a drop this long for a lot of places that rely on foot traffic, they might not be able to make it back. So fucking support your operators where you can, people. And when it's fucking safe to reopen, you better fucking believe I will drive as far as is required to find a round 1. And I am not getting off the fucking Waka cabinet until somebody physically carries me out of the venue. Just letting you know. By the way, if you've never been to like a proper arcade in your fucking life, I think people are starting to clear out, so I'll probably end pretty soon. But if you've never been to like a whole ass good ass arcade, if your experience with arcades has like exclusively been like mall arcades with a handful of redemption games, or like fucking Dave and Buster's, go to a round 1 when it is safe for you. Like, assess your fucking situation, please God. But round 1 is like a magical place. Full says JP Arcade with tension if the machines lined up next to each other. Probably spent too much time there instead of tourist stuff. Man, that is tourist stuff though. That's an experience you could only have there.
Easy.
That's like... what do you fucking take vacations for? What do you fucking travel for if not to have experiences that feel deeply fucking satisfying or resonate with you, you know? Sleep says, I spent like a whole day in some arcade in Nipponbashi back in 2012 just playing Vanilla Uni. It kicked ass. I mean, Vanilla Under Night is some shit. Vanilla Hide Feet 2 chain shifts. Man. I'm feeling that deep melancholy now. Arcades are a fucking important part of my life, man. Even if I don't get to travel as much as I'd like, even if I don't get out as much as I probably should. And even if the ability to properly visit one feels like a rare vacation rather than a constant. I really hope we're all fucking okay after all this, you know? It's not something I've been dwelling on too much, but I got every available appendage crossed for this shit. And hey, in the meantime, fucking new Fightcade beta came out. Go play that shit. Street Fighter the movie's on it. Street Fighter the movie's ass. But that's not the point. I'm just saying. There's some shit. Alright. I'm fucking out of here. Hey, and appropriately timed, too. Everybody fucking hang in there. We'll make it. Arcade Reminiscing continues on Discord. We'll see you there. Thanks for coming. Race car takes flight and jumps a fence.